In this example, we're told the U.S. Small Business Administration has data suggesting that 48% of Americans would like to start their own business. The Illinois Small Business Development Center of McLean County thinks their percentage of residents who feel the same is greater than that. To learn more, 1,342 randomly selected residents of McLean County were asked, do you have a desire to start your own business, or have you considered doing so? 713 responded yes. What we want to do then is use Desmos to complete the following. We don't really need Desmos for part A, we're just asked the number of successes and failures. We had 713 successes, and then to get our number of failures, we can take the 1,342 people who were surveyed, subtract the 713 to get 629 failures. In this case, the conditions are met to construct an estimate for the population proportion because the sample was large enough to obtain 10 successes and 10 failures. Then we want to find the 90% confidence interval estimate for the population proportion. To do that, we'll open up Desmos, and to estimate a proportion, we need to plug in a value for successes and sample size. We had 713 successes out of 1,342 people surveyed. We also need the confidence level, which is 0.9. Then we'll click on the drop-down arrow for the population proportion, and we get the lower and upper bounds for that population proportion P. That's going to be 0.5089. To an upper bound of 0.5537. Is it possible the true population proportion is greater than 48%? Yes, because all values in the confidence interval are larger than 0.48. The next question is very similar, but in this case, we are told that 1,210 people were randomly surveyed for this scenario, and 99.92% responded yes. That means we aren't given the number of successes directly, so we need to take that sample size of 1,210 times 0.9992 to get 1,209.032. We can't have a fraction of a person, so we'll round this to the nearest whole number, and we get 1,209. If we take our sample minus the number of successes, we have one person left over as a failure. So are the conditions met in this case to construct this estimate? No. The sample was not large enough to obtain at least 10 successes and 10 failures, but similar to as we did in the last example, we'll still construct that estimate because it's still mathematically possible. But then know that in this last part, the interpretive part, we would select we cannot draw any conclusions based off the information available. Because in part B, we said any interval that we construct will be invalid. We also want to take a look at this example where we're told that Cinema United, formerly known as the National Association of Theater Owners, believes that the majority of people prefer to wait and stream new movies from home. To investigate this assumption, 1,355 randomly selected people were asked, do you prefer waiting to stream new movies at home? We're given the 638 who replied yes. So we need to calculate our number of failures, which is 717. Yes, the sample was large enough to obtain 10 successes and 10 failures. So with 638 successes out of 1,355 people who were surveyed, our 95% confidence interval estimate will be 0.4443. to 0.4974. Is it possible that a majority of people prefer to wait and stream new movies from home? In this case, we would have to say that no, the interval contains values equal to or smaller than 0.5. In order to have a majority, the population proportion has to be larger than 0.5. 0.5 is only half, and in this case, all of our values are actually less than 0.5. The only way to support this would be if all values in the confidence interval were larger than 0.5.